My name is Martin Givenji, aka Daddie Marto.
Unafanyanga tu kila kitu, bro. Where do you think all this stemmed from?
In my memory, I have two shows that I watched as a child. First show was called Hollywood Highlights. And then the second show was Japan Video Topics. Yes.
Bro, watu watajua miaka zetu.
As humans, we are very, very simple in what we derive pleasure from. Very, very simple. And we appreciate how we feel based on what we see.
Right.
There is that need to also evolve. You see, in that space itself, you need to also evolve in what you're presenting. Otherwise, you're very quickly going to lose relevance.
Absolutely.
Because the people who will still stick to the same formula that they had initially, they get lost. Because one thing that I'm always aware of is there will be another Daddie Marto who will come up one day, and I'll no longer be the voice in tech, and I'll no longer be the voice in family content. I'll never be the actor stroke scriptwriter stroke director that is being seen on these social media platforms. They will come and they'll overtake me.
Classmates, karibuni sana to yet another episode, another class, and I'm so excited about our lecturer for the day. It's a gentleman I've come up with in the industry. Why, you're not a gentleman, bro? Mbona umestuka hivyo? Man, thank you so much for subscribing and for engaging with me on the comments. Endeleeni hivyo hivyo for more guests that you want to see over here. Hapo hivyo tu kwa comments. Say who you want us to talk to and we will reach out to them. And one of the guests we have today has also been requested a couple of times. So I'm excited to have this conversation. As usual, we are filming at Longonot Place. Amazing place for your staycations. Check it out. Luku kama kawaida ni Rajab Karume. Please check out his shop. The gentleman I'm about to introduce is a man I believe is the definition of adaptability. This guy just adapts and moves. I have been studying him in the industry. We started together in the acting circle. So yeah, manze nataka kujua atufunze hiyo trick yake leo. He calls himself a content creator, a techpreneur, a dad, a husband. He will introduce himself much better. We call him as Daddie Marto.
Hey, sorry.
Sorry.
Umenipata off. Umenita
Lecturer. Mtu yangu, uko na aspirations za kufunza at some point.
Nilisomea theater. Nilisomea Bachelor of Education in Maths and Business before I switched to theater and film. So nilikuwa ninafunzwa kuwa mwalimu.
Tafadhali leo tufunze mtu yangu, tuko hapa na note. Usanika kusumbua.
Ujuaji kakataa.
Uko fiti?
Niko poa.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yes, my name is Martin Givenji, aka Daddie Marto. I am a media personality, content creator, and performing artist. I found those three ways to define myself because everything else falls within that.
Right.
Nimefanya vitu hii Kenya.
Tupeleke ndo mwandasanuse hakuna job hajafanya under the sun. Let's start with right from at what point did you become this I don't know, unafanyanga tu kila kitu, bro?
Sifanyagi kila kitu. Wacha nianze hivyo. Sifanyagi kila kitu. So it's there's a space that chose me. There's a space that chose me. And that's where I ended up doing everything that I'm doing.
Right.
I'll break it down this way. So, of course, after high school, I did set books, traveling theater, performed at, I think, stages within Nairobi, etc. Then joined campus to do maths and business. Hiyo ndio niliitiwa KU. After, I think, 2 years, nika decide, I'm doing other things that are helping me pay my school fees. Why not build on them? So I switched to theater arts and film technology at KU. Hiyo time nilikuwa nikiuza mishipi za mbao na earrings za mbao. Nilikuwa nauza ma power bank na ma headsets za Bluetooth.
Right,
just to, kupata kale kathao kakukusukuma wiki 2 ama 3 ukikula food ya 30 bob. That's while in campus.
Right.
After campus, I ended up now, because I was studying theater and film, I started off as a scriptwriter first. I remember our first encounter, me and you, the very first time I met you, other than when I was watching you on TV.
Right.
The very first time we met, I think you, Abel, and I can't remember which other gentleman from the Tahidi High crew, and also Shish, had come from a road trip somewhere, but you guys went straight to the Kenya National Theatre to audition for Sugar.
Yes, MTV Sugar.
Yes.
Yes.
And I remember in the room was me, you, and Abel, who were selected now as the group to go in together.
Right.
That was the first time I was in your presence, and I was like, wait, this is the first time I'm meeting these people and I'm auditioning to them. I'm auditioning with them. Talk about pressure. Of course, neither of us got any of the roles that were there at that time. And now that we know, the workings behind auditions and casting, we were not what they had written.
Yeah,
basically, we were not.
Sure.
Yeah. So being an actor all through, and then I started writing scripts. I remember that was the second time now me and you met. I was writing scripts. I wanted to join Mother-in-Law as a script writer.
Right.
At the time, you were the director.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I texted you like today. The next day, Baha's mom, Wanade, she passed on. Oh, yes. So on the day we met, I was meeting to tell you, you got my text? Yeah, I got your text. But now we have to, like, damn it. let's finish this fast and then let's see how that happens. And even but then it was interesting to get now a call from you the next time. So throughout I was writing scripts. I started training as a director on the set of Machachari because that's where I ended up being a script writer mostly, and other shows here and there. Then I ended up you guys had a pilot at the time, which was Suna Johnny.
Yeah.
You called me, said there's something here we'd like to do. Just come on board, which was a very strange call because from the conversations we'd had with you,
it was about writing.
Yeah, well, initially it was about writing, but then you mentioned that where you had last seen me was not in a comic character.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you called me for a comic character. Like, okay, let's just do it. Yeah. And then I think our journey then properly crossed at Suna Johnny. We worked together for 2 fantastic years, 2 beautiful years that still have impact felt to date.
Right.
But then I mentioned this because, those are almost the same things that I'm doing that are leading towards what I eventually take up as the majority of my life. After Suna Johnny, the thing that happens to actors happens.
Ako busy, huyo amekafunga, huyo amekuwa expensive.
It was and still is a very successful show to date.
Yeah.
Musikia kuchapa watu ngotoa kinita Johnny na silipwi kuwa Johnny. But it is well.
Man. To discuss PAO, man.
And being that the popularity of the show meant that my face is now common, that's an excuse. I always say, I realize there's a problem in the acting industry in Kenya because you're punished for being good at what you do.
Yeah.
You're punished for having the experience required to do better. So I think that some of those things are the ones that made me realize I can either sit and complain that there's something wrong with this space, or I can adapt and try and do something else.
Right.
And it was funny how the next job that I got on Suna Johnny was writing for your next show.
Yeah.
And you know how that went.
Yeah.
You know the challenges of
True.
of me being on that show.
Yeah.
So I could, and at the time, it was, I think it was in 2017, just before we had our final season in 2018 of Suna Johnny, that my firstborn child was born.
Yeah.
And being now that I am responsible for more than just myself, I could, again, either sit and complain that the industry is not offering me what I deserve, what is owed to me, mi na talanta yangu yote, kwa nini hamnipatii kile ninafaa kupata? No. It's like, I need to do something. So I transitioned. I started creating, I started off by creating tech content. This is from the experience of being the guy in Campo mwenye had machine yako ikipata viruses, Mato ndio alikuwa anaitwa kuja nifixie hii. Heater ikiblow Mato kuja nifixie hii. Bulb ikihitaji kuchangiwa Mato kuja nifixie hii. You know, hence I ended up, you know, doing the things like selling the power banks, etc.
Right.
And also people asking me, what would you want? What should I be looking for? And I'm trying to buy a laptop. What should I be looking for? And I'm trying to buy a phone. So I started creating that content at the beginning of 2019. And then I partnered with a tech blog by the time, TechWiz, which I'm still partnering with to date.
Right.
Then 2019, I think around November, because now I had now come from being behind the camera being in front of the camera as an actor, then going scriptwriters on it in between the camera. Like, I don't know where to put
scriptwriters and the ones-ishas.
Yeah. And I had been a scriptwriter as well. And then I had been behind the camera as a director. I think I got my first chance to now say, you know what? Now it's just me and the camera, and things need to move.
Yeah.
So just before COVID hit, I started creating content. And it was ilikuwa ni kimungu because the need for that content was so intensified during the COVID period.
Oh, yeah.
It's just been an upwards trajectory.
Right.
You know? And then also within the space, also transitioning, knowing what kind of content you want to do, what you don't want to do, how you position yourself, how you brand yourself, how you package yourself, etc. And I think in a nutshell, that has been, quote unquote, my journey.
Where do you think all this stemmed from? Talk to us about your upbringing. Is there something from your upbringing that made you this kid that's always trying out anything and everything in the house?
In my memory, I have 2 shows that I watched as a child that I feel influenced or rather triggered me. First show was called Hollywood Highlights. Yeah, for the young ones and for the old ones as well to remember. Kulikuwa na limousine move around. At that time, growing up in Isiolo, KBC was the only channel we could watch. Hollywood Highlights. And it was so intriguing how I enjoyed watching behind the scenes more than the trailers. I was so curious and I'd get so excited and I'd feel frustrated when they're only showing trailers. No, show me how they got to that. Because even with time, when I'm watching a movie, I would notice, dile reflection ya cameraman. Dile boom. Or rather, yuko kikitu wanekaga. But at that time, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But that's the first show. And then the second show, well, there were like 3, but you know, these 2 are the most important. And then the second show was Japan Video Topics. Yes.
Bro. Watu watajua miaka zetu.
Wacha wajue, man. So these 2 shows I really loved. I loved the tech. And I'd always ask myself when I was watching these shows, like especially Japan Video Topics, will this tech ever reach Kenya? Or will I need to go to Japan so as to experience this tech? You know, so I've always been an early adopter. When smartphones first came, I was there with it. When Edge internet connection was introduced, I quickly jumped from my Katululu phone to immediately getting a phone that can get GPRS or Edge internet. Unakimbilia tu.
Right.
When the first camera, or rather first Android phone, you know, was launched in the market. I remember it was the Huawei Idios. 40,000 apps. Nakumbuka hiyo advert ya Catherine Kasavuli. Be serious sana. Uyo mimi. Nimekimbilia. And with every tech advancement, I'd be the early adopter. You know, nataka kukimbia. Little did I know that it was, you know, those small desires when I was a child to get to experience and understand tech that were pushing me towards being this early adopter. But yeah, as a child, those I think were most of my influence. I grew up in Isiolo.
Right.
See Nairobi.
Interesting.
I grew up, so huko tulikuwa tuna watch KBC peke yake.
Yeah.
And I think that was a very good foundation for me. in that there were not many distractions, focus. Yes, we were only watching like two cartoons in a day, and that's it, you're done.
Yeah.
But at least there was that focus that I got. Yeah.
So now you sit comfortably in the tech space and content creation space. How big is content creation? Like, what is this thing? Manzi, tunashinda tukiongelea. I think it's feeding a lot of people. Have you seen yourself in this space for a long time? And, what are you seeing? Kwa hii space ya content creation.
So, what content creation has done is to answer the age-old headache of distribution.
Yeah, that's for sure.
1, distribution, and then 2, access. Anybody can be a content creator.
Right.
There is no gatekeeping in content creation, because all you need is to have your product, and then you have options of where to present your product to an audience. Then from there, the audience will decide whether they want to become your audience.
Right.
The potential is massive. In the Americas, it is billions of dollars industry.
Right.
I might not have the exact figures, but talk to me soon. I will have the figures. It's a billions of dollars industry. In dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hii yenye imegonga sasa 150.
I think what last time I checked, 2022, I think it was valued at what was it? 19 billion dollars. But the conservative figures is content creation industry by 2032 should be at around $181 billion, something like that.
Yeah, because you see, what content creation has done is to bring not just entertainment, but businesses to people's eyes. Even worldwide, billionaires are agreeing to the fact that anybody who can amass an audience and present them something that they are ready to consume on a regular, they will control the market. Because content creation, again, has also become a major part in the marketing industry. So get people to consume your content, get people to understand your product, get people to fall in love with your product. So, I mean, you have a lot of avenues to feed into this content creation space where, I mean, the opportunities are endless.
Just to show people how big content creation is, I had it right. Yes. A gentleman called Chamath Pali. Iyo jina ni ngumu tu. He's a billionaire VC who scaled Facebook to 1 billion users. And he was just talking about the next evolution of social media. And he was saying content creators will be the next billionaires of the future. Because the first wave, we had the Apple and the Google coming up. And then the next phase was, the second wave was the social media apps, the Facebooks, the Twitters, IGs. And they were saying, and he was saying the next billionaires will be content creators. And the formula is the same. Apple, Google, billions of users, trillions of value in dollars. Apps, same thing, billions of users, trillions of dollars. And I feel like we're going there. Ukiangalia kina Mr. Beast, kina nani.
Yeah. The appeal was when tech became, what's the word? Tech became normal.
Yeah.
Tech stopped being the thing for the geeks just in Silicon Valley. No, we interact and we consume tech every single day.
Right.
And the power came from the techies to now the average consumer, which is everybody. And then the average consumer just decided one day to go online and react. And now Kabilem is a billionaire.
Right.
Which, man, goes to say that as humans, we are very, very simple in what we derive pleasure from. Very, very simple. And we appreciate how we feel based on what we see.
Right.
And it's not about, sometimes packaging is good.
Yeah.
Sometimes packaging might trigger emotions of endearment, Because I'm sure when he started,
Yeah.
The kind of content he was doing then and the kind of content he's doing now are worlds apart.
Oh, yeah.
Because right now there is also that expectation that, you are a billionaire now.
Yeah, you're a
How
big
can you give us content that does not look like
Yeah.
who you are? And it is us consuming your content that we've made you go, get to this point.
Right.
So there is that need to also evolve. You see, in that space itself, you need to also evolve in what you're presenting. Otherwise, you're very quickly going to lose relevance. Because the people who will still stick to the same formula that they had initially, they get lost. Because one thing that I'm always aware of is there will be another Daddie Marto who will come up one day, and I'll no longer be the voice in tech, and I'll no longer be the voice in family content. I'll never be the actor stroke scriptwriter stroke director that is being seen on these social media platforms. They will come and they'll overtake me. And will I stay bitter at the fact that somebody else has grown into a space that I also grew into? No. Find ways to evolve, find ways to adapt, find ways to do other things that are beyond what you're doing right now. So I'm always on the lookout for what is next. People might think I'm very ungrateful for what I have, but I'm always thinking of what next.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, talk to me about adaptability, because I think from where I sit and from the guests that I've had conversations with, I think right now the one character you need to survive in the world we're living in is for you to be, you can adapt. I think if you can adapt, you can, because manzi, leo naamka AI ishachukua job yako manzi. Adaptability, man.
I keep on wondering, what would have happened if Yahoo accepted to buy Google when it was pitched to them.
Yeah.
Because Yahoo is struggling.
Oh, yeah.
Right now. If it even exists.
Kuna watu wanatumia Yahoo bado.
Juu iko tu. Yahoo and Yahoo is more just as an email address. There are no more interactions with Yahoo for news.
Alafu your email unaekanga place notifications tatumwa huko.
Zile websites zenye utaki zionekane kwa your normal email.
My God, is good.
Websites za pesa, si ndio?
Yes,
utaki zionekane. Aya. There is also the question on what would have happened if Kodak agreed to transition from film photography to digital photography. What would have happened?
Manzen aswali pitchiwa. They were the first people to be pitched for digital cameras.
Yes.
In the 70s, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Na wakakata. You see, those are just two examples of rigidity that cost them to this day. And one day we'll just hear Yahoo has filed for bankruptcy because 1, 2, 3 things. Because what Google is right now, I'm sure even the founders of Google did not see what Google was going to be.
Of course.
Because right now, if you think of Google, when it started, it was just mail. Or well, it was a search engine.
Yeah.
Then they brought in mail. Then when they bought YouTube, at the point at which they bought YouTube, just that action changed the course of the internet as we know it to date.
Right.
The decision by the founder of Facebook to bring in Instagram and also the creator of WhatsApp to create WhatsApp and then agree to sell it to Facebook, which is now Meta. Unfortunately, yes, I'm giving examples what is in the Americas and what is in the space that I am in, because that is what I'm very familiar with. But it can either be a split-second decision or it can be something that you've thought of and are searching for what is next. Another example, there's always this story that is given of the day Airtel switched from Kensel to Zain. It was the first floor and the first floor and the seventh floor. The business happened where it was sold here and then it was given to somebody else.
The guy made billions in like 30 minutes.
Such things always made me curious about. Look at the space that you're in. let me actually give Safaricom as a perfect example.
Yeah.
Safaricom came into this market as the underdogs.
For sure.
They came in as the underdogs. At that time, Kensel ndio ilikuwa inasema.
Yeah.
Safaricom came in as the underdogs. They realized, these people like feeling things are theirs. So wacha credo tuite bamba. Watu wana feel, okay, sawa. Ikitu na work. Wacha tuseme ukitaka kusaidiwa na credo ni kuokoa jahazi. Ukitaka kutumia mtu pesa ni kusambaza.
Ama mpe pesa, mpesa.
You know, well, it was either mpe pesa or mobile pesa. You know, either way, there is that bring it home. And they realized that they need to work with the market as it is and then grow with time.
Absolutely.
And look at where Safaricom, if you look at the trajectory of companies in Kenya, as far as their net worth and them being tax-paying companies in Kenya, there's a graph that was drawn by somebody. I can't remember. If I can get access to it, I would share. You see where Safaricom started and then how big their graph is. And then it can grow. It's the only company that grew all the way until it became number one. And then the gap between Safaricom as the number one company in terms of market value, in revenue, and turnover, etc. Haijafikiwa mpaka sahi. Mpaka ndio nasikia inahitaji kusplitiwa from the telecommunications company. The telecommunications company is being splitted from the tech finance.
Right.
So
how do I grow that muscle, that niche ya adapt? Like, I don't know, how do I work on it so that I'm a guy who adapts really quick? Sijui ataka kuna.
That's a very hard question to answer because okay.
Is it
I can only give my experience.
Yeah.
So 3 things about my life. 1, I always felt, it might not be true, but I always felt like in any room, I was never the most liked. In any room, I always felt I was never the most liked. Why? I felt, again, it might not be true. I felt it was because of what I knew, aka ujuaji. You know, that's what I always felt when I was in specific rooms. Right. So I was always anxious to not stay in a space where I felt I'm not liked. That correlates to when you're in a space where you feel you're not liked, then you'll not be comfortable. And that discomfort, if you're in a space you're not comfortable in, that means you're going to be stifled in terms of your growth. Right. So connecting these things. If I get to a space where I feel I am getting comfortable, I start feeling funny. Because I'm always so used to moving to the next thing.
Right.
So I start getting comfortable, like, is something wrong? I'm going to be complacent. I need to move. If I'm in a space where, or rather when, back then, so this is the muscle that was built. This is what was building the muscle. What was building the muscle was being in a space where, wewe wacha kierere. Wewe uko na ujuaji. I feel, okay. Chaniende place ninakuwa appreciated. No. Unatoka. So I think also I have had some previous relationships where they complained that I moved on too fast. I moved on too fast. Like I didn't mourn them. Like
imeisha mtu yangu. Adaptability ni kila mahali bwana. Una adapt kwote.
Songa ukiendaga. Unasonga ukiendaga.
Yeah.
So I can't really say there is a tried and tested way of adapting. Most people's experiences help them grow to be the people who they are right now. We are a sum total of the choices and our experience, the choices we make and the experiences that we have endured in life. So mi sijui ni nini unahitaji ku happen kwa life yako. Who decide, you know what, me by the way, mi nataka kusonga. But at the core of it, it's always been my yearning to always stay relevant. Relevance is dependent on growth because the things that were relevant I always give this example. There's a time where your KCSE certificate was the most important certificate in your life.
True.
Uliingia hivi form 1, ikakuwa redundant.
Kabisa.
Ukamaliza hivi form 4 ukiwa na KCSE certificate. Wait, nimeanza na KCPE. You start with KCPE in primary school, then KCSE in high school. It was so important. Unagonga tu hivi kampo, inakuwa redundant. Unatoka hapo hivyo unaingia university. Unatoka unatisha watu na hiyo degree hapa hivi. Ukishatoka hivi, kama haufanyi kitu nayo, kama haufanyi kitu ambayo ina impact society yako, autambuliki. You know, so there is always the next thing, always, and that's what I always try to climb towards. It can be tiring, of course, and it can be seen as somebody who's not satisfied with what they're getting in life.
Right.
But is it wrong to want more out of what you get? I don't think it is. For as long as you're not stepping on people's toes and you're looking for your own growth, change is the only thing that is constant on this earth.
Man, something that's important to both of us, and now where you sit, and I'm just trying to see how we can impact our film world. Film and television is a world that is struggling. Na sio sisi peke yetu. Even in Hollywood right now, you know, there's a crisis there. And looking at our industry from where you sit, what do you think we need to change? You know, you've been able to adapt, you've been able to find your footing out there. Then what do we need to go back to the people in our industry and tell them, guys, I think this is the way we can shift and change our industry? Because I think we still love film, we still love TV, we still love theater.
Yeah. I think there are two mindsets that exist with, especially in the film industry. Film and theater. It's realists versus purists. The purist knows this is how I learned how to do film, and this is how I will do it, and I will leave the rest to the other people.
Right.
But the realist will choose to say, okay, I have a product, and I need this product to reach as many people as possible. Okay? So there are choices that I need to make. I need to make choices as far as casting is concerned. I need to make choices as far as distribution is concerned, so that I can make returns. Because for the longest time, we have been in an industry where money goes in, it never comes out.
Yeah.
Money, and if it comes out, it goes to kwa shamba, kwenda kununua shamba ama kwenda ukulima. Kwa sababu the same money has not had the ability to go back in again.
Yeah.
You know? And with that, because there has been, speaking especially on the actors side of things, there has been conversation around actors, their responsibility on a set, etc., what they need to do, what their job is. And I was really hard against somebody who was really thumping their chest and saying, my job is to get the script, understand the character, and deliver the role to the best of my ability. Once I am done, once it's a wrap, it's a wrap. It's now the responsibility of the producer to sell the film, and, you know, marketers to market the film. I was like, no. You have a responsibility beyond that. If you want to be bankable, if you want to be reliable. I remember one of the things that, some of our experiences together. I remember there's something you pointed out when we were on set once that, I want to add to this. So most actors will feel that is their responsibility. Come on set, have your lines, deliver your lines, go home. But then you realize that actor might be the most horrible person to interact with on set.
Yeah.
It's very hard for new, young, up-and-coming actors to engage with them. They only speak to actors of a certain level. And they only interact with specific people on set. I remember I had this habit on the set of Suna Johnny where hata nikikuja nimechelewa na nimekosea kiasi gani, after nime apologize, I will still go around whether I come early or not. So even when I'm early, I'll go around and I say hi to everybody.
Yeah.
Every single member of the cast and crew present on set on that day.
Yeah.
And I remember there's a day I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I remember you came and asked me why I did not do that on that day.
Right.
Because you mentioned it, you said, I noticed that when you come on set every single day, you always do that. You did not do that today. You didn't ask me why I didn't do it, but you said, make sure you don't lose that. And I made sure I did not.
Right.
You know, whether it was because I was late or not. Sometimes I'd come on set, you know, a bit late, whether a bit or not. It doesn't really matter. 44 is over there just giving me the eyes of, I hate you, but I love you. And I'll still go say hi to him. And it's like, But from that conversation, you echoed that it might be a simple thing, but it was my responsibility as an actor on that set to present a bit of cohesiveness on the set, because we need that so as to do the job. Beyond that, it is the responsibility of the actor to make sure that if they fall in love with what is being performed, they sell it. Because it is people who are going to come and watch it to watch him or her. Ni yeye wamekuja kuona. And that is what I look at the life of Will Smith. And for me, there was a time when I was reading about Will Smith, and he was one of the most bankable actors in Hollywood. By that it means if Will Smith is in a blockbuster film, it is going to sell, it's going to get its money and make even more. You know? And if you feel that your responsibility goes only to the point of acting and finishing, I'm such an awesome actor, and then going home, you're never going to reach to that point of bankability. So, to the actors, you need to invest more than just your time as an actor. You need to present an energy of cohesiveness around on set. You need to talk and preach and shout about what you are doing. Let people fall in love with it. Let them spend their money to come in. And then the rest you just leave to the universe. You know, at least for the actors. For the producers and the directors, let's not be so rigid as far as our ways of distribution or our ways of marketing are concerned. Allow also, kuna wale, you know, there are producers who want to limit how their shows are being marketed. Let the actors do what, you know, of course with a bit of guidance, because people can go off the rails. Wacha watu wajaribu, you know, kile wanaweza, waachie. Let the directors understand, you know, there is more than just one way of doing things.
We, tukaingia hiyo world manzi tunaweza ishi hapo ka 2 hours. What skills are you teaching your kids now? Knowing, you know, for you, adaptability is like, so how are you bringing up your kids, you know, to survive in this world, to be bankable in this world?
Interesting question. Well, luckily hatujafika mahali wanaweza saanza kushika the hard lessons. But I think for now, what I'm teaching my kids is, one, kindness. Kindness goes a very long way. At least, that's not even towards about adaptability. My firstborn is 6 years old. My secondborn is 2. Then the thirdborn is 0. Ajagonga 1 bado.
Wow.
I have 2 under 2. So at least for the firstborn, it's kindness. Have a heart for people. Have a heart for, you know, understanding people. And then of course with time ndio utamfunza hizo vitu zingine. Saa hii kumfunza that life inakuwaga ngumu, because one of the reasons why we adapt is because life ni hard. You need to move, you need to grow. So wakati vitu when the going gets tough, it's the tough ones that get going.
Absolutely. You have a crazy schedule, man. First of all, what's the name of your company? What other things are you doing? You know, we just see you creating the content, but I know behind the scenes you do a lot of stuff, man.
So I started a production company that is primarily focusing on creating content and also working on social media strategies. It's called Impetus Studios. I started the company initially as a way to support myself because I found myself in COVID worked because we had no choice but to be peke to productions.
Yes.
We were in the house, me tripod nilikuwa cameraman. Then ninachukua the simu kwa remote or rather kuna remote ya camera kwa simu nina press play. And of course with time we've grown, and when I realized that I needed a company to support what I'm doing, I have been for the major part of my business the only client. I am still very young. My company is still very young. I am hoping to grow beyond. I'm looking at what I do for myself, what that company does for me. If I'm to separate myself from it, it needs to be able to do that for other people. Yeah. So if I'm a success, the company is a success story. If I fail, it is the company that has failed. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking to, because, I also don't want to work for the rest of my life.
Of course.
Yeah, I need something that will, keep working as I am, sipping mimosas and enjoying retirement with my boys.
Kabisa, man.
What are mimosas, by the way? Nimesema tu jina isikiaga. I don't know what mimosas are.
See your flavor of samosa somewhere. Okay.
You can sip samosas.
I don't know. I don't know.
My samosas like me.
You follow to. Yangu, I'm trying to imagine how you balance your company. How you balance being in the film and TV and theater space, being a content creator, being a father. Bro, how does your day look like? What time do you wake up? How do you plan your day? Ama, this is where we call in Miss Njeri to tell us how she plans your day.
So funny thing, because I don't have an 8 to 5, which sirushi watu wa 8 to 5 mawe, but there is that routine that they get that have them, comfortable with what they're doing, what they get, etc. Excitement inakujanga wakienda company retreats, Sisi, rather mimi, sisi na industry yetu, saa zingine ujui siku venye itakuwa. But there are seasons. And hoping that, what I'm going to say next is not going to invalidate everything that I've said from the beginning. I remember there was a time last year when I had an intense season. I had 3 things happening at the time. I had a play that I was doing, a play that we were delivering in both English and Kikuyu.
Oh yeah.
I remember there was a series I was shooting for Showmax in County 49.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I was still creating the content that I'm creating every day. And then, tuongeze hapo hivyo, I am fathering. Yo ni constant.
Yeah.
And I had just started my company, so I needed to make sure that grows. That was an intense season. It was super intense. That was when I decided to start bringing in people around me. So I had somebody to help me with my calendar, because utaniongelesha uniambie tuko na shoot hii siku. Nikwambie cool.
Yeah.
Tukate tu hivi simu nikumbuke nilikuwa nacheza Candy Crush, so nirudi kwa Candy Crush. Anyway, nikumbuke like nijipate I was filling an Excel sheet on something. I go back to the Excel sheet. I forget to calendar it. If I don't get a calendar notification, that's it.
Yeah.
I've completely forgotten. So I started bringing in people around me. Before that, I started by just bringing in, of course, for the company, there's the editors, the camera person. So bring in the people around me to at least help me navigate all this. And then there is a season where you just don't want to wake up in the morning.
That's true.
Something small, something very, well, it's not small, but something small might happen. And you just feel tired.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning at around 10, which is not something for a CEO to be saying they are doing. You just found yourself waking up at around 10. You look at your kids, you're like, damn, I have a responsibility towards these kids.
Yeah.
And then you just sit down in front of the TV. Just start, just the flash of images, just to numb yourself from the reality as a man that there are people you're actually responsible for. And before you know it, it's been 1 week, you have people calling you, asking you, kazi imefika wapi? Nitafanya. You sit down to try and do the work, but nothing is happening. Your mind is not minding.
Yeah.
Vitu tu haziconnect. And especially in our space where most of the things are passion driven, and which is a statement that I sometimes give to my editor and anashindwa ku understand. You need to feel.
Yeah.
You need to feel it, like literally. You need to feel it.
Kabisa.
Yeah. You need to feel. You need to feel what you're creating.
Absolutely.
Because this is a baby. You're giving yourself. You're feeding yourself into the world through a medium. And if what you're creating, you're not seeing it. Like, it's the final, but you look at it and you're like, no. You find yourself back in the cycle again. And then it hits you that people still need you. Now you have employees who you need to pay. Currently, you are financially strained. Now you're like, what am I going to do? And then that season passes. And then you wake up again another day. You're like, you know what? I would either dwell on what my weaknesses are, or I focus on how I can better myself, and everybody else gets to enjoy the result. Of course, sometimes it can be very lonely. It can be very lonely at the top.
Oh, yeah.
It can be very lonely. And there is only so much you can demand from the people around you, whether it's your partner in life or your partner in business. There's only so much they can offer. They can't reach deep down into your mind, deep down into your heart and soul to understand this is the pin that I need to place for this person to get to a place of full actualization of their potential, who and what they are and what they're capable of for this season. It can be very lonely. But system kujichocha ni lazima.
Yeah.
Lazima ujichoche. Hiyo haina otherwise. Because you see, when you say yourself, you have a crew depending on you. Sio lazima. But there is that sense of value you get from knowing that you woke up, showed up, and everybody got to benefit from you waking up and showing up, as opposed to you just sitting down, doing nothing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people suffer from you sitting down and doing nothing. It's just the value of the man. A man is mission driven.
Right.
Give a man a mission.
Yeah.
Nilisikia mahali which might have varying opinions. In the great decree, the great decree from God to man in the Bible was work. That is why even before woman came, he still had work.
Yeah.
He had something to do. Name the animals, name the plants, do this. That alikuwa na kazi. Hiyo ilikuwa kazi yake. That was the very first thing. And then later, ndio Mungu akarealize, anahitaji kitu ingine. Akampatia partner, akampatia helper. And then decree yake ikakuwa kwa familia. So mwanaume, kwa sababu decree yake ilikuwa ni kazi, that is what God cast on Adam, that you're going to toil the earth. Kwa sababu hiyo ndio kitu alikuwa nayo. Huwezi cast kitu yenye hauna, huwezi panishiwa na kitu hauna attachment to. So ndio sababu waki yake ikapigwa hiyo kiboko. And then for the woman, familiar, you will have pains,
Yeah.
to bring forth, child and family. This I'm referencing to the Bible, sio mimi. I'm just, taking my own understanding from the text. But when a man succeeds while working, the effect is felt all around them. When they succeed in that mission, the effect is felt. So you have to wake up, lazima ujichoche, lazima ujitandike viboko, lazima ujipige makofi. If you have accountability partners, well and good. Find like-minded people like yourself to just call you randomly one morning and just tell you, yo, changamka,
Interesting, because I know you do those calls with me once in a while, randomly, and thank you for that, man. Thank you. You really come through. How do you base yourself? How do you, what keeps you sane? Because unless ulianza, bro, you've been a teetotal since I've known you. So you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't... I don't know if you are big in terms of going to church. So how do you keep yourself sane, man? Kuna watu insist ndo release steam, release pressure, mtu yangu unahitaji...
Well, everything in moderation is permissible.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation is permissible. I don't know, how do I keep myself grounded? I say I am a result of my mom's prayers and my mom's and my mother-in-law's prayers.
Okay.
Yes, I do go to church. In as much as my understanding of church has evolved over time, I do go to church. No, I do not drink to get drunk. Now I will take an occasional sip here and there, not to get drunk, but just for the social connection, etc.
Oh, that's new. That's new.
No, that has like if I'm to take say a whiskey, a double of whiskey, I'm done. That's it. If you try to add any more, nakuchapa ngumi. Sitaki yo, Saa hizo nimejaza Coca-Cola na ice cubes. Kwa hivyo hata ni kama ninakunywa tu soda. Yeah, diluted, yes, of course. I don't know. I have never been able to answer that question of what is it that I do.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to get away. It sometimes gets very overwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get away from everything and everyone. I don't know how to... I was about to use a French word. Mess up. I don't know how to intentionally mess up or intentionally let go. Because sometimes you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
French word it.
Yeah.
F it. Kuende vile kutaenda, you know? I have tried. It always eats me up. Again, so then I go back, okay, sawa. Just think. What do you need to do to set things right, etc. But that's just me. Probably I have moments where I will stay on Candy Crush for like 2 hours just to get away from my mind and the responsibilities of the world, Probably that's the only thing I can say is what I get away with. But I have been told recently I need to get a break. I need to take a break. Some people are telling me I need to take a break.
Oh, let me tell you.
I don't know.
So...
breaks cost money.
Yes, unfortunately. But yeah, one of the lessons I had to learn as I was leading my company was understanding the difference between being busy and being productive. And delegating is huge. You need to learn that skill. You cannot do everything.
Yeah, sure.
And taking a break, being able to breathe is so important. Especially for a world where, for you to be creative, you can't be creative on a tired mind.
Sometimes it's not even taking a break from work. You take a break from work. I've taken a break from work. I've gone home. I have the boys over there jumping. I have boys jumping.
It's your break. Home's your break. A break is to be by yourself sometimes, and please, it's important. You put your family out there, and that for me, freaks me out. How have you made peace with creating content with your family, knowing the world the way it is? You'll see those comments online. You will people will come for you, whether it's Twitter, whichever app, you know. And how have you made peace with that? What's the plan on that? Me personally, me nanistuanga. Nimejaribu nimeshindwa.
So this is the funny thing. People have not ever come for me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's the interesting thing. I think it's just how we packaged it.
Trend Twitter.
Oh yeah, nimekumbuka hiyo. Oh yes. By the actually, I was only focusing on the kids. I was only focusing on the kids. Oh yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh yes. So we ended up, as we were creating content, we ended up in the family brand of content.
Yeah.
That is why you'll not see me drinking or promoting, alcohol, because, that goes in the marketing world, that goes against the tenets of the family brand.
Right.
Not that people in families don't drink, of course. So I share sometimes successfully, sometimes like that one moment, not successfully. I share successfully, I curate the things that I want out there.
Right.
And what we try to do is keep a balance of the good and the bad. We don't want to oversell the good, that it's all rosy and fantastic and pleasant. No, it is tough because you're dealing with humans who have complexities. You put out content, you cross your fingers and hope people get it for what you intend it to be. But sometimes they do not. Then you find yourself having to, I think it's probably happened like once or twice, where I've had to go back and explain again, okay, that is what you got, but this is what I meant. It has not happened, a lot. But we are complex human beings with complexities, and that is what I try and put out to show that life is a sum total of choices. It's a sum total of choices. And sometimes the choice to spank your kid for doing something small as opposed to having a conversation with them or varying it to either spanking them or pinching them or having a conversation to them will eventually impact the kind of people who they will grow up to be, as it also impacted the kind of people that we grew up to be. We bring a lot of traumas from our childhoods, and they're most revealed in relationships.
Oh, yeah.
It is in relationships that you realize where, by the way, I have mommy issues. And when you are by yourself, only notices of you too.
That is true.
Yeah, it is when you're in a relationship that you realize, okay, I have dad wounds that I need to, to heal from. Or I am grappling in the dark as far as parenting, which is another form of relationship in itself. I'm grappling in the dark as far as parenting is concerned. I was not fathered, I need to father. I was not mothered, I need to mother. That sort of thing. So we just try and keep it open. I've been told that's the reason why we are not making a lot of money. Because the people who are making money are selling the dream. I don't know. Unaona venye wewe umesema wewe umeshindwa hata kuanza kuweka familia in any way. Sasa mimi nimeshindwa kuuza anything but a minimized version of the truth. It's not 110%. Nakupea ka 20%. Ujue hizi vitu who happen. Hatutaishi hapo hivyo. Because the thing about good times is they don't last.
True.
The thing about bad times is they also don't last. Nothing lasts forever. So if you over-glorify the good times, what happens to the bad times? If you oversell the bad times, oh, this person is horrible, this person did this to me, did that to me. Siku moja angukie bilioni kadhaa. What happened to his badness? Sasa amekuwa mzuri all of a sudden, because then they didn't have money, now they have the capacity to take care of the family. Now sasa all of a sudden all those other things have been forgotten. No. So we just put out what we can. We let God do the rest.
Right.
And we hope to get lucky. It doesn't trickle back down to us and affect us negatively.
Man, bro, just know we are watching. We are really watching. Why Marto is very inspirational to me is when we started working together on Suna Journey, social media wasn't something he was interested in. And I remember a story where he lost a gig because of his social media following. At that point, he only had, what, 2,000 followers. Yeah. And manze alijituna masikio akasema, wa, hii social media ndio inafanya nikose job. I'm going to work on this thing. I'm going to become big. And I have seen the work. This ninja has put in the work. We've seen the numbers grow. Check out his social media pages. See the numbers. And it's all blood, sweat, and tears. And for that, man, thank you. We are watching. Keep teaching us, Manze.
Thank you.
Lastly, as we finish, do you have like a mantra that you work with? That unasainingia hapo chini jina yako and then hapo chini like a motto, a mantra?
One thing I always say in showbiz, if you're in showbiz, don't be afraid to show your biz.
Show your business.
Show your business. If you're in showbiz, don't be afraid to show your biz. And then in life, frustrations will come, disappointments will come. For as long as you have your mind intact, you can navigate anything.
Oh, yeah.
You can navigate for as long as you have your mind intact. And if you feel, because you can lie to a lot of people, you can't lie to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
But if you feel you're sleeping, for your sake, even if it's not for the sake of everybody else around you, for your sake, just get help. Especially now that we are in a season where we are realizing that, you know, it's not a demon. It's mental illness. It's not a demon. It cannot be prayed out of you.
Yeah.
You know, it needs to be talked out of you. That's the only way it can come out. Talk it out. Express yourself, even if not to a professional, but you know, somebody you feel you can be vulnerable to. You know, sometimes I see people doing that on social media where they get vulnerable with people on social media because sometimes for them, that being vulnerable to strangers, they feel gives them the release they need compared to being vulnerable to somebody you know or being vulnerable to a professional. If that helps you, you do you. There is no blueprint to life. You can only advise people based on your experiences. I can only advise people based on my experiences, but there is no blueprint. I saw something this morning that I'd want to really share.
Okay.
What's 1 plus 9?
10.
What's 3 plus 7?
10.
What's 6 plus 4?
10.
What's 10 times 1?
10.
What's 5 times 2?
10.
How many ways are there to get to 10?
Many. Countless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just because I have my way to get to 10, that doesn't mean it should be your way. There are countless ways of getting to your goal, whether it's good health, or success in your business or success in your family. There are many ways of getting to it. You just need to find yours. Yangu labda ni square root, cosine, tan, tangent. Hizo zote.
But utafika hapo 10. Mradi ufike 10.
Yes.
That was a beautiful closing remark. Like, we all get to our 10. We all have different routes and paths, but we all get to our 10. Thank you so much. Again, we're still filming at Longonot Place. Beautiful, amazing space. Come check it out for your staycations. Rajab for the look. And to my amazing crew. Same kwa ngapi manzi. Wewe. I think your list tuendelea to grow every day.
Spikes was the very first person to help me with my social media back
then. Yes. Spikes, he's always behind the camera, but Spikes, I think sisi wote ndo ametufungulia social media. He got into the space of social media managing. When? Ulianza kumanage lini? 2015, yeah. So Spikes pretty much sisi wote ndo alituanzisha in the social media space. So thank you, man. Sawa, man. Thank you, tuonane next class.